Hello everyone, my name is Gavin, and this will be a video on how to have your player not slide around on a moving platform. So if you see when I hit play right here, the player in the middle is sliding around, and he eventually gets bumped up the map. But we're going to add a script, and what's going to happen is the player is going to, wherever he's on the map, just stick to where that is, and he can run across the map like this or move, but he'll just stick to wherever point of the map he's on instead of sliding around. Alright, I'm just going to get started. So to start off, what we're going to do is hit the A button twice to select everything, and hit X and delete. Hit 7 to go on the top view, and let's do spacebar and then add a plane, like this. Let's hit SX and just scale it out a little bit, then SY and scale it out this way. For this plane, I'm just going to apply a red material to make it noticeable. And for this plane, I'm going to drag out the animation window down here. And on frame 1, I'm going to hit I and then lock location. On frame 50, I'm going to hit I and then lock location. And on frame 25, I'm going to move it out towards this side over here and do I and then lock location. Oh, whoops. I messed that up. My apologies. On frame 25, on this one, I'm going to drag this out over here and do I and then lock location. And I'm going to set the end keyframe as 50. So we should see our plane is going to move back and forth like this. It's a nice movement and it works like this. Alright, what now we're going to do is go from defaults to game logic and go from Blender render to Blender game. And on our plane, let's have an always sensor with those first 3 dots selected. Add an action actuator. The mode will be loop end. Let's add the plane action in here. Let's have it go from frame 1 to frame 50. Frame 1 to frame 50. So we should see if we hit play in the game engine, our plane should move back and forth like this. Alright. The last thing we're going to do before we're going to start editing our script is drag out your panel over here, if I can grab it, and let's make this an actor. Now that this is an actor, what we are going to do is do spacebar and then add a cube like this, and this cube is going to be our player. And for this tutorial, we're going to use dynamic physics. Dynamic has been working for me. I'm kind of having a glitch when I use character physics, where it's making the player shoot off into the distance, so I will just be using dynamic physics for this one. And on our character, we're going to have two keyboard sensors indicating left and right. Left and right. The left button will be A, and the right button will be D. And because these are the controls we're going to use just to move our players left and right. So 2 motion actuators, with the first one being left, and we're going to have that go -0.2 on the x-axis. And for right, we're going to have 0.2 on the x-axis as well. Connect these right here, like this. And we should see we can move our cube left and right like this. Alright, what we want to do now, is I'll actually scale this up, is as you can see right here, when we drop our cube onto the plane, it's just going to slide around. It's not actually stuck to the floor like a normal human being would be, or it's not staying in the same spot. So, what we're going to do is add a Python controller to our cube, and we're going to add an always sensor as well. Click these first 3 dots on our always sensor and connect it to your Python controller, but as well, let's connect these 2 sensors right here, our 2 keyboard sensors, to our Python controller. Let's now have a collision sensor, and let's have collision is the name of this object. We're going to have tap selected, or actually not tap, sorry. We're going to minimize this, and let's connect that to our Python controller. So all 4 of these sensors connected to this one Python controller. And let's add a parent actuator over here. And I'll rename this as set parents. And I'll take compound and I'll take ghost off. Alright. Now what we're going to do is add another parent actuator. And this one will be named remove parents. And we'll connect that to our Python controller as well. And I'll rename this as remove parents. And I'll minimize this. Alright, So we should have the 4 sensors and the 2 actuators connected. And now that we do that, let's start scripting for it. And let's have templates Python and then game logic simple. We the template we're going to add. Let's delete the portion I've highlighted and hit Control and scroll up on your mouse to make your text larger. And I'll rename this as platform scripts.py. And I'll add this right here. And what I'm going to do is add those collision left and right sensors to our script by doing left is going to equal controller.sensors left. Right is going to equal controller.sensors right. And then collision is going to equal controller.sensors collision. Next, what I'm going to do is add those 2 actuators down here. So sets parents is going to equal controller.actuators sets parents. And then remove parents is going to equal const.actuators remove parents. Now what we want to do is essentially what we're going to have happen right here is have, just to get this started, let's have if our collision is positive, so if we do collide with an object, what we're going to do is have a variable called collision actually I'll just call this variable target. Targets is going to equal whatever object we hit, the collision object, or a collision.hit object. And what we're going to do is have setParents.object is going to equal the target object. So whatever object we're currently hitting at the time will become our player's parent object. And then we're going to activate the setParent actuator. And if our collision is not positive, we're just going to simply const.activates remove parents. Now there's going to be a funny thing that's going to happen here, which is if we hit P, we can see our player is stuck to the grounds like that, but if we try and move left and right, he's not going to be able to move. And that's kind of something we need to do, because if you're walking around on an interior like a bus or something, you don't want to just be stuck in one place, you want to move around. So what we're going to do is have if we're colliding with the object and we're not pressing any of the movement keys. So and's not left.positive, and's not right.positive. Alright, I'll now scroll this down so you guys can see it. So, we have it so that if we're not pressing any keys and we're in contact with the floor, our player is going to be stuck there. But if I start to move right, whoops, he kind of got stuck for a second, you can see that we can move our player even if he's stuck on the platform. I'm wondering if my controls are backwards really quick. Let me check. Oh, yeah. Let me make sure my controls are right. Left is negative 0.2. I'll probably make this negative 0.5, a little bit higher of movements to make it more noticeable. Then 0.5 right here. So now if we hit play, we should see I can move that way. Yep, alright, there you go. Alright, so that's how that works. I hope you guys find this useful. I understand that the movement at the end was a little bit wonky, but I didn't spend too much time trying to intricately make the movement look good. I'll actually just make it a little bit higher of a movement right here. I haven't played around too much with this personally, but this was a requested tutorial. So, yep, oh yeah, now you can see that's much better movement. And alright guys, I hope you guys find this useful. Thanks for watching again.